Hello and welcome. I'm Nick
I'm Bills.
from Top Notch Sports, and today we're going to be breaking down the Buffalo Bills 2023 NFL Draft Class. First things first, Bills, I want to ask you this. How do you feel overall, from an overall point of view? How do you think they did?
I'm happy with the draft. Yeah, I think they definitely filled spots of need. I think they definitely like improved the team after the draft. So I am very happy with what they did.
And we'll let you break all that down too. Some of the undrafted guys and everything else that happened afterwards. We'll talk about that as well at the end of this. So, first things first, before we do anything else, I also want to make sure you mention what's your page, how do we find you, and what are you all about?
So yeah, my page is Bills Mafia _ news on Instagram. I just cover like game day stuff. So I'll post like the scores and whatnot. I also cover all Bills news, and I just do other fun things involving the Bills, like like also covering like draft prospects and stuff like that. So if you are interested in seeing any of that, go follow me on Instagram.
For sure. And again, everyone go give this guy a follow. It's really good content. All right, let's go. First guy off the board for the Bills. First at that position as well. Pick 25, Dalton Kincaid. What do you think?
So that was a very controversial pick for a lot of people, but I think similar to what happened with me is a lot of people initially were like, why would you take a tight end? We already have Dawson Knox. We basically have no reason for a tight end. So people were kind of initially upset at the fact that it wasn't like more of a position of need per se. But not much longer after, people, like when you start to think about it, it's more of not necessarily, don't think of him as a tight end, think of him as almost like a slot wide receiver. Obviously he is a tight end, but the way he was used is a lot more like a slot wide receiver. He was playing outside in college a lot. They'd motion him around a lot, get him open. He has a comparison similar to like Travis Kelsey and Zach Ertz. Obviously, they're very like high bars to give a rookie, but the fact that you get comparisons like that, it means you're doing something right. He also has very good hands, from what I know. I think he dropped like what, 4 passes in his college career or something like that. Um, so yeah, I think the initial thought behind the pick was just to get another weapon for Josh Allen, which I think they did. I think that was a very good pick by them, and I'm happy to see what he can do for us.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy, he wasn't my top two. He wasn't my top two, he was my third. But part of the reason was because, and again, this is a really tight group in my opinion. And I feel like this guy, like I literally said in his notes, although he does not look as big as some of the other tight ends, he does fight for extra yards. He transitions into a runner after the catch very smoothly. And at the very end, I say he has some of the better hands in the draft. Going to be tough to rank all these tight ends as they are all pretty damn good. And Kincaid is very good as well. They're all so close. And my top three are Mayer, Washington, and Kincaid. I know that we saw Laporta and Kraft and Musgrave and all these other guys, Schoonmaker, all these guys go pretty high. But I'm telling you, I think the top three were these guys. The only reason why Kincaid was three was because of the concerns that we just mentioned. I mean, he's not the biggest guy, 6'3", 246. He has some good size, but the height, a little bit underwhelming for that big tight end that you want to look for. He's a 25th percentile in the tight end positions for height, 20th percentile in the tight ends for weight, which I actually found somewhat shocking. An arm length. I mean, I don't look into arm length at this position. I mean, still for catch radius, I mean, it's good. 32%, 32nd percentile. None of this means crap, though. At the end of the day, this guy's tape is great. He's a smooth route runner. He's smooth after the catch. He transitions very well, and I think that's where a lot of people see the comparisons to Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey's not going to wow you with speed. Travis Kelsey isn't 270 pounds, but Travis Kelsey's going to catch a 5-yard hitch route and slip his way through and break 3 tackles to get a first down, turn a 5-yard play into a 15-yard play. That's what this guy can do. And like you said, if they use him in the slot, that's pretty damn good too. I mean, he is a big slot receiver. The only other thing I'm going to say is, you guys also have a guy I like too, which I would love to see him in the slot, and that's Khalil Shakir, who I was very high on last year's draft class. So we'll wait and see what happens. Again, 2 tight ends, 1 tight end, however the hell you do it. I like the pick. I gave you guys a B. I could have gave you higher. I mean, if you took Michael Mayer here, I probably would have went higher because, again, he was one of my higher guys. But again, we got to understand in context here, Dalton Kincaid's not being your tight end. He is just a piece of the offense. whether that's slot or tight end, he can do both. So, because like you said, people say position of need. Well, you got Dawson Knox. Well, you can say that he's just filling the wide receiver / tight end role, which again, he's versatile. So I like that. All right, that's enough said for me. I'm just rambling on here for about 35 minutes. Let's go to the next guy. I love this pick. 59th overall, Osiris Torrance, guard from Florida. What do you think about him?
I absolutely love the pick. I was kind of shocked he dropped that far, as with honestly quite a few of the prospects in the draft. A lot of people slipped that I was not expecting to slip. And Torrance was one of those guys. Now, he didn't necessarily slip very far, but he slipped farther than I thought he would. And I'm extremely happy that we were able to get him in the second round, especially. I've also had a previous mock draft where I took him in the first round at pick 27, I believe. So a lot of people also had the Bills taking him in the first round. So being able to get him in the second round along with a weapon for Josh Allen in the first round, now you're protecting him and getting him another guy to throw to. So it's like, it's like a win-win just from like both aspects of the first and second round pick. So I honestly love having Torrance. Obviously, the only issue with him is he's not versatile. Like he's not playing center and he's not playing tackle. But to be honest, all we really need is him to play guard. If he can even just play both the guard positions, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Because we definitely need a young talent in there to be kind of just like a powerhouse blocker. So
Absolutely. Again, this was my top ranked guy coming out. I mean, I may have had Andrew Voorhees number one if it wasn't for the ACL tear. I ultimately put Voorhees at 2. But Torrance, man, now this is a massive guy. 85th percentile in height, being 6'5". 330. That's the 87th percentile, and his wingspan is 96th percentile. Huge ass wingspan, long arms too, 33-inch reach. That's above average for the interior offensive line position. This is a guy, to me, he played right guard on film I watched. He has great job with his footwork, getting to the defenders and getting good positioning to seal off defenders. There's difference between I'm just going to go and block you and I'm going to actually go and seal you off and make sure I create a hole for the running back. This guy consistently does that. Now, again, I know you guys aren't a big power run game, but hell, I mean, you guys can if you start building up your offensive line with guys like this, I'm really liking it. We're going to get to another pick that I really like in the future here too. He does the tough tasks really well. The tough things that most guys can't do right, he does very well. He gets to the second level greatly. I said he's a better run blocker than a pass blocker, but he does a good job at pass blocking as well. He stays smart and keeps his eyes up for incoming blitzers. Just an all-around really good player. And, this was an A-plus pick. 28th pick in the second round and the 29th pick in the second round, 59th and 60. Back-to-back A-pluses. You guys got Torrance, and then the Bengals went out and took DJ Turner. So, big top guys on my board. You get my number one interior offensive lineman at 59, which is really, really a good spot to get him, and just phenomenal value and a position of need. So you can't get better than that. That's why it's an A+.
yeah.
Anything else you want to mention about Torrance?
Yeah, actually, I do remember seeing that in his entire like college or maybe even football career, he never let up a sack. So I feel like that's saying something, especially along with the fact that as you said, he's a better run blocker than he is pass blocker. So I think the fact that he's never been like one to give up a sack, I think that shows a lot, and I think he can develop really nicely to fit our offense. Since, as you said, we're not a run heavy team.
Yeah.
Um, and what I'd also like to add about that is even though we're not a run heavy team, we obviously moved on from Singletary and now we have James Cook. James Cook was performing well last year with the more like spotty O line, especially for run blocking. I can't imagine. I would just like if I'm the coach, I'd just have to tell James Cook to run behind this guy every play, bro. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't see how anybody's just going to like bolt through this guy. He's massive. So
Yeah, he's huge. I mean, and like I said, like you just mentioned, like say those are the statistics. Like, I don't know how many sacks he let up or whatnot because I just watch purely tape. I don't even look at the statistics or the data and stuff. But one thing I will tell you is, like you said, like I clearly said, I think he's a better run blocker, which just shows you how like that's just a perfect example of how good of a run blocker I think he is. Because clearly on the film I watched, he didn't let up a sack, but I still saw slight weaknesses there compared to his run game. So again, that doesn't mean it's a weakness. That just means that, he was even better. If he's great at pass blocking, he is phenomenal at run blocking. And the only knock to have on him is, I said, I wish I saw him play with a little extra toughness. I like the linemen that are running people into the ground, that are, slant, like pancaking guys. He didn't do that like a Penny Sewell did on the film I watched with his. The only other thing I'll say is this. Very clean player, very good at the next level, but I never saw this guy take a play off. And that is something I absolutely love. He plays every single snap. Doesn't matter if it's the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, being blown up by 37. He's going to block for you every single play. And that's something I really respect.
180. 180 set.
91st overall pick, third round. You take Dorian Williams, linebacker from Tulane. Now, this is a guy I didn't get a chance to watch. So tell me a little bit about him.
Yeah, so actually, I when we were at this pick, I was kind of hoping we would either see Trenton Simpson slip to this spot so we could take him because I know in our mock draft I took him at pick 31.
Yeah.
So that's another guy I didn't expect to see like fall as far as he did. And then I was not expecting the Dorian Williams pick at all at this position, to be honest with you. I thought he would go a bit later. So I guess you could say this like was kind of a reach, but it's not necessarily like a reach in a sense to me where it's like, why would you take this guy here? Like it's terrible value. Because in my opinion, from what I have seen, like from him playing, he is a guy who is constantly like pursuing well. He's like a big hitter. He's not gonna miss tackles often. He's not really huge, but he is an athlete. So I think what they tried to do here is bring in a guy similar to Tremaine Edmonds, obviously without being 6'5", but a guy who can play linebacker athletically. I know Brandon Bean said he was gonna kind of start off as a special teamer or Matt Milano's backup, but he never said like he was saying he could compete, and if he's doing well, he can take that middle linebacker spot. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to see him play. So,
I don't know about his tape, but I'll tell you this because again, I got the data pulled up. I mean, he's undersized for sure. That doesn't mean a bad thing anymore because now we're seeing a lot of these safety linebacker hybrids. I don't know if he's one of those, but hell, he could be because I'll tell you this right now: height and weight wise, 16th percentile in height, 11th percentile in weight. He's 6 foot 228. Some can say he's 6'1". He's 6 foot and 3/4. I always round down. Although he's basically 6'1". I'm sure he put on his driver's license. He's 6'1". His arm length, 92nd percentile, long ass arm. So that's going to help him, bat down balls if he has to. 4.4940. That's a 94th percentile in the linebacker position. That's fast. Okay. That's very fast. So this is a guy that's going to be able to move. He's a little bit undersized, but maybe he can play in that safety linebacker hybrid. Now, again, I don't know. I don't think the Bills really do that much. Usually you have Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde playing safety, and then you've had your
yeah,
linebackers like Tremaine Edmonds, and Matt Milano. But hell, this could be a guy that could do a little bit. I mean, he could be a safety playing in the box for you guys, so you get really good guy that could cover and has the speed to cover. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what he does good. I'm just going
mhm.
based off his measurables. So we'll wait and see what you guys can do with him. He could be an interesting pick for you guys. Let's go to the next guy, wide receiver Justin Shorter from Florida. What do you think about him?
Yeah. Sorry, just quickly before we move on to
Yep.
Shorter, who I do really like as well. One thing I just wanted to add is Dorian Williams. He seemed to like he was very good on almost like QB spies in a way. Like he could kind of like pop back, sit there, watch what the QB was going to do, and the moment he saw a reaction, he'd gun in there and just hit the QB. So he had a very like good reaction to like, what the QB was going to do. And I have heard that he is like very good in pass coverage. Like that's kind of what he is. It's just like a pass coverage, like good tackling linebacker. So yeah, I think he can be very good. I think he's a bit of a developmental player. So we'll see what he can do. And then yeah, we'll move on to Shorter. That guy's a beast. He is, I believe, 6'4", and he's shredded. I know, like immediately after the draft pick, there was like a picture of him that came out, and he was like, he's huge. He like people were kind of comparing how he looked to, like DK Metcalf. So I think he also ran a decent. I think he ran like a 4.5 or something. So it wasn't like super fast. Like monster guy that's running like a 4.2. But I would say a 4.5 for a guy his size is still very quick. Um, Obviously, he was a later round wide receiver. We have seen guys like that turn out. Like Diggs on our team was like, I believe, a fifth rounder. Gabe Davis as well, I believe, was also around there. I think fifth round too, actually. Most of our like receiving talents or just offensive talents in general have been in later rounds. So I do believe that this guy can become something in our offense, especially if he's showing um, like flashes in like training camp or in preseason or whatever. And he even had the like mentality to like he was talking about how he wanted to be like he wanted to be a very good player. He wanted to prove kind of that he deserved a chance in the NFL, that he was worth the pick, like that he was worth taking. So I'm excited to see what he
Yeah.
can do.
He's another guy I didn't know much about, but like you said, the size and the speed's not bad. Now, here are some things that you can compare this guy to physically and not tape wise, but just physically and speed wise. Matt Collins is his number one known comparison. Okay, so that's the number one guy. I mean, again, that doesn't mean that he's not more talented. That doesn't mean he's less talented. I'm just giving guys that he's the same height and kind of same speed and weight as. So Matt Collins is a really big comparison. Two more guys on that caliber, Josh Gordon and Mohamed Sanu. Those are kind of very similar matchups too. They're all around. The Matt Collins is an 88.1% match. The other ones are 85% and a little bit higher. Gordon and Sanu. The only other guy I'm going to mention, and now this is a big name to be mentioned too, Demaryius Thomas is an 82.4% match. So
Mm-hmm.
it shows you that this is a guy, I mean, size, height, weight, speed wise, arm length, et cetera, testing wise, physically, he's up there with, those bigger guys. I mean, those are the names to compare him to. So, I mean, of course, we're hoping to maybe see the outcome to be like a Demaryius Thomas or maybe a Josh Gordon in his prime, or hell, even Matt Collins had a hell of a year for the Raiders, So who knows? I mean, we'll wait and see. But this is a guy that has height and speed, not extreme speed, but good enough for his size, like you mentioned. Anything else you want to mention about him?
Yeah, just with a guy, when you have a guy that's like this big, just like physically like gifted in a way, like just being as large as he is and as strong of a receiver as he is, there's no reason he couldn't become a good wide receiver. It's just more so we got to see if he can like, you know, be a good like route runner, if he can consistently hang on to the ball, that like he's not like dropping things all the time. It's just like there's these other more like technique things that in order obviously to be successful, you just need to make sure you're getting these things down. So I really do hope that he can become very good, just because I would love to have a 6'4" guy for Josh Allen to throw to. Because yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? Like if like you said, he could become a Demaryius Thomas. I don't see how you're stopping the offense. So
Absolutely. And again, like I said, you get this guy all the way in the fifth round. I mean, like
yeah.
150. So, I mean, again, that's a really good guy. And even if he doesn't pan out, because again, most picks aren't going to pan out, this is someone that I would like to take a stab on and see if you can make him something. All right. This next pick, it's not your last pick, but it's probably my
Mhm.
favorite value pick. And I don't know if you watched any of this guy yet, his tape, but again, maybe I got something wrong. It happens every once in a while. But Nick Broker guard from Ole Miss. This is my third ranked interior offensive lineman, third ranked guard. So again, I have my top three interior linemen all be guards in Torrance, Voorhees, and Broker. We also saw Voorhees go in the seventh round as well
Mhm.
because of the injury. What do you think about Nick Broker? And did you watch him?
So I did not watch him. I have heard that he's very versatile, and as you mentioned, you also had Voorhees, like as one of your top like interior offensive linemen, and he also went in the seventh round, I believe, actually like right before Broker. I'm pretty sure it was the pick right before to the Ravens, I believe. Um, and yeah, yeah, like I said, I've heard he's versatile, so you can play like tackle inside wherever you kind of need him to. Um, I think that would be huge for our offense if he can succeed at multiple positions. Just because having like a versatile guy, even if he's just on like the depth chart, like even if he's just a backup, having a guy who can slot in where you need him to in case of either injury or if he becomes a superstar, that's like huge for an offense. So um, like you mentioned, I haven't watched anything on him, so I'm not exactly sure what he did well or what he didn't do well.
Right.
Um, but I'm always excited to get another offensive lineman on the team. So
For sure, and I gave this one an A because you got a guy that I like. Now I'm gonna mention what I don't like, and I'm gonna raise a concern, and this is just me doing my job. Now again, I put him at 3, so I'm trusting the process here. But again, there is a concern. So number one, his measurables, he's tall, but he's not the heaviest, and he doesn't have these crazy length arms. They are, if anything, he's below average sized arms. The thing about him is this: he played left guard on the film I watched. He plays with great toughness and blocks until the whistle blows. All things I absolutely love to say on my notes. On occasion, he does whiff, but he does a good job getting to the second level. Okay. Now here's the biggest concern I got. But again, I'm betting on him because I love his toughness. He played in the college style offense, so it is tough to see how good of an NFL blocker he will be. I love his toughness though, so I lean towards him having a good shot at being good at the NFL. His tape was good. He runs people into the ground. He plays with toughness. He blocks until the whistle blows. He does all that. The biggest concern I have is that he played in a college offense. Boom, the ball's out. Boom, the ball's out. Boom, the ball's out. He doesn't have to hold up as long. But again, it's can they develop this guy? I like him. You watch if you get a chance. I don't care if it's highlights that I don't think you can find highlights on offensive linemen. But if you can just watch him play a game or two, let me know what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts on him. I thought he looked pretty good on the tape I was able to watch. So we'll wait and see. And again, even like you said, if he's and I made that clear too. Even if this guy's a backup for a 7th rounder, hell, that's a good pick. And if he can be a role player, play multiple positions, or if he cracks a starting job, that is one of the biggest steals in the entire draft. So we'll wait and see what happens with him. All right, the last guy. Anything you want to mention about him first?
so I think, yeah, as you were saying, he kind of was in an offense where the ball was out quickly. Similar thing with Dorian Williams, obviously, other side defensively on the ball, is I think people were kind of saying he was more of like a system linebacker. He was just succeeding because of the defensive system he was in. You like I said, similar thing. You could probably say with the broker, just being in an offense benefited him more, which would also explain why he dropped to the 7th round. Um, but yeah, I think sometimes people get a little bit too caught up in the fact that they had a good like system at college or something. If they have the right mindset and the skill set, I believe you can develop them into a fantastic player. So
That's why I put him ultimately at 3s because again, I don't know what. Like I said, we'll have to try to look up. I literally do not read another scout or analyst opinion on these guys at all. That may be the thing that they claim too. I don't know because, like I said a few years ago, Jedrick Wills, everyone's saying he's the best run blocker. He's a terrible pass blocker. But if you go and look at his stats and stuff in the NFL, I was the only one that said the opposite. And turns out to be that he was like one of the top ranked, pass blockers in the NFL a few years ago. I think it was like his rookie season, and his run blocking wasn't the greatest. So, there's things that scouts say that demise these, eliminate these guys and the value these guys that just aren't true all the time. And my whole thing is that maybe that's also their claim there. Maybe they're also saying he played in the offense, and maybe that is why he fell. That was my analysis, is that he played in that style of offense and he fell. But again, like you said, mindset and toughness to me, if anyone plays with a good, like if they block until the whistle blows and they play with toughness, but they whiff every once in a while and they play, I'm still betting on that guy because I feel like if you have that mindset, you're going to become a better football player. And again, for linemen, I feel like a lot of it's up here and not so much on the physical end. But okay, that's that. Let's go to the next guy. Alex Austin, cornerback from Oregon State. Don't know him. What do you got about him?
yeah, so I also didn't really know much about him when we selected him. I did like see his measurables kind of like quickly after we did draft him. I believe he was 6'1" and about 195, I want to say. So he's not necessarily like a huge corner, weight wise, like he's not gonna be like a big hitting corner, I don't think. But he does have like the height and length, similar to Kyer Elam, our 1st round pick last year. I believe he's like 6'2", like 200 pounds, somewhere around there. And I think just adding another DB to our, like DB room is just more of like an insurance thing. Because you look at a guy last year that we got, Christian Benford, another guy who I honestly didn't really know coming out of like when we picked him, just coming out of college. but he played very good for us last year, and he was actually kind of in our rotation for like starting cornerback last year. So if he can play anything, just like what either Benford did, or if he can just, I guess, go out there and show that he is a talented player. I do think I recall seeing that he was like pretty quick too, but I don't remember what his 40 time was. So I don't know if you know what it is, but
Yeah, 4.55. So I mean,
yeah,
it's right around that. I think that's the same speed Justin Shorter is. So you got two
yeah.
guys that are around that 4.55 speed. That's not. I mean, I know I invest a lot into 40s myself, but I don't. If the guy's sticking with people on tape, he's sticking with people on tape. Again,
Hmm.
I wasn't able to see the tape, but again, this guy's a 7th-round pick. If he can be on your starting roster, that's a good thing, And like you
Yeah.
said, Benford and Elam, and now you got Tre'Davious. What I mean, look, I'm telling you something. This defense. What do you think? Let me put it this way now. Overall, as a draft first, what do you think about the draft as a whole? What would you give it as a grade?
I'd probably have it somewhere between like just an A to a B plus. Like if you wanted to even just say like A minus, I think that'd be fair because there wasn't a pick there that I was like, why did we take this guy? It doesn't make sense at all. Almost all the picks I liked in some sort of way. I think the pick I liked, I guess you could say the least, but I can't even really say that just because it was a 7th round pick was Alex Austin. Um, just because, well, I think maybe we could have taken like a defensive tackle or something.
Yeah.
But like I said, if there's I don't really have an opinion on many 7th rounders because a lot of them don't end up making the final roster. So if he does good enough to make the final roster, then hey, that's a great pick. But I'm not going to say it's a terrible pick or like an elite pick if he's in the 7th round, just because he's questionable at that point. There's a chance he doesn't make the roster.
So what's
So
your grade again? What is it going to be?
just overall,
Yeah, overall, would you say?
yeah, I think I'll just say A minus just for how well rounded it was. We got some good talent that was left on the board, and we filled in like positions of need all over the field. One thing I will add is we only took 2 defensive players in the whole draft, and we also like throughout free agency have been targeting like just offense. So I do think there is something going on uh, just in the front office and like coaching where they are trying to make this offense even more powerful. So I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out on the field.
Yeah, and like I said, I agree with you. I'm right around that B plus to A minus mark too. I mean, I can't grade the picks that I don't know, but I again, I love the Torrance pick. I absolutely love the Broker pick. I mean, those two picks are great picks with great value. The other picks, I just don't know how much value you guys got there. So I could give you guys a really high grade and say A to A plus, but I just don't know if every one of those other picks are gonna work out phenomenally. But you don't need all the picks to work. You need one pick to work out. Kincaid was honestly out of the three guys I know, Kincaid I feel like was the worst value pick, but a player that's going to play a role day one. So it's not a bad. I'm trying to say this. I know I gave it a B, but in reality, I know that could be. He's going to play a great role in this offense, and I'm sure that they're going to find ways to dial it up with him. Overall, it's probably right around a B plus A minus. I'm probably going to go B plus and I hate lowering it down because I don't know so many guys. But I wish I knew one more guy that would put me over
Mm-hmm.
the edge and put it into the A's. But like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. And again, I'm a huge fan of this team. I like what they're doing. What else were you gonna say? You said they made a few moves after the draft. What did they do after the draft?
So yeah, they've signed I know this is just kind of depth running back, but they did sign Latavius Murray, which I know there was like people who are kind of like confused, like why would we sign him? We just signed Damian Harris, we have James Cook. Like, why would you just sign another running back? I personally do like it just because I do think Latavius Murray will actually be like a good, um, solid running back in case of, disaster, whether it's Damian Harris or James Cook gets like injured or something. Or if even if it's just, give the guys a break, you just put Latavius Murray out there. I think he's a very solid running back. And just having the veteran leadership to help James Cook is nice. And then the other signing we just recently did was Puna Ford, defensive tackle. So I do like that a lot, especially since we didn't take a defensive tackle in the draft. I think having a run stuffer like Puna Ford was a very good addition. Yeah.
For sure. And like I said, it's just all around. You're building a team. Can this team get to the promised land? I'm hoping. I love the Bills Mafia. I personally think that you're one of my favorite fan bases. You guys are old school. I love you guys putting each other through tables. I've been liking the Bills for a long time now. I'm not just on the hype train. And again, you drafted one of my favorite quarterback prospects in the history of the National Football League, and Josh Allen. I mean, him and Herbert, man, I just don't know. See, Allen was more of my finding. Like, Herbert was up there. Allen's not going to be good at all. And they said the same shit about Herbert too. So
Mhm.
I take their claim to fame for both of them, but I think Allen is closer to my heart because I felt like I was the only one, out of my friends and out of the other people and the analysts, and people had Josh Rosen higher than this dude, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, everybody. And I just felt like I was the only one battling out with this guy. I also loved Herbert. Herbert was a number one as well. But this guy I hold close to my heart because, again, I just feel like he was getting a lot of unnecessary hate. And again, I still think he honestly gets to that time. I know you
Mhm.
guys haven't won the Super Bowl yet, but man, Dan Marino made it there one time and everyone thought he was going to go back when he was younger and never won it. So there's been some old time greats that don't get it done. And it's not just because Dan Marino, everyone knows, is an old time great player. I know I'm
Mhm.
not talking about Dan Marino to a Bills fan, but still, I mean, my whole point is that, you know, uh, it's Marino's known as a legend, not because that he didn't win a Super Bowl, and it's not his fault that he didn't win a Super Bowl. It's the team around him. So Allen, I think the pieces are there. I think he's going to get a damn shot, and I really hope that he does get a ring on his finger before it's all said and done. And hopefully not just one. Hopefully he can run it up a few times. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, yeah, just I guess since we're on the topic of, Josh Allen coming out of the draft is not a very, popular prospect, I guess you could say. Um, People were very low on just his like accuracy was a big thing. People were like, well, this guy is like terrible. He's not accurate at all. And then he comes into the league and his first 2 years aren't very good, which obviously doesn't help. People are going to be like, yeah, okay, well, everyone thought he was going to be bad, and now he is 2 years in, and he's not doing any better. But you also have to look at his situation coming into the league. He had his first years, wide receiver one was Calvin Benjamin. We know what happened with him after. He's no longer on a team, and he just was not disciplined. So yeah, I think sometimes people are just a bit too harsh on prospects, and you got to give them time before you can have like a determined, I guess, like grade for how good they are.
Absolutely. It takes time. And like I said, you have to wait and see, especially the quarterback position. You have to wait and see when it's all said and done. And the final thing I'll mention is this, especially nowadays. I mean, you see someone, I know that a lot of people weren't high on someone like Matt Corral, or I wasn't high on Malik Willis. So that's one some other people may argue, but Matt Corral was one I was high on. Probably not going to get an opportunity, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some people were really high on Josh Rosen. I didn't like Josh Rosen. Again, he's another one that you say really didn't get a fair opportunity. There's too many quarterbacks. There's 5 or 6 quarterbacks coming out every single year now. And, there's not enough openings. So you got backups. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, Sam Darnold would still be a starting quarterback on a team. He was a first round pick. Hell, he would be starting somewhere. And another thing is, too, there's quarterbacks going in the first round nowadays that would probably be 3rd, 4th round picks back in the day because quarterbacks are such a need, like not a need, but so many people want to find the next Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert that
Mm-hmm.
they're just taking them so high and they're hoping they can find the one. For an example, Trey Lance. Oh, he has a big arm. He's the next Josh Allen. I said, no, he's not. He's not that good. He's not that good. And look how he panned out. He's not the next Josh Allen. No, and everyone, because they missed on the first Josh Allen, they want to overcompensate and find the next one. And know what we saw this year in this draft, and this is how I'll wrap it up because this has nothing to do with the Bills, but now you guys got me ranting here. But the example this year, Brock Purdy. Everyone, they missed on last year's Brock Purdy. So now this year, there was like 15,000 quarterbacks taken because they're all trying to find the next Brock Purdy. They're
Yeah.
trying to overcompensate because they missed on the first one. I hate when teams do that because there's not enough, like, it's rare to find a Brock Purdy, a guy that can come in, win, and play that good. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll wait and see. I do like having, an abundance of young talent, though, because opportunities, man. I want to see, young quarterbacks thrive in the NFL, and I want to see the best of the best. But that's it for me. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, I think that should be good.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, plug your page one last time.
All right, yeah, just go follow my Instagram, BillsMafia_news. As I said before, I post all sorts of Bills content, like game day posts, news, draft prospects. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that, go check me out.
For sure. Guys, give them a follow. And then besides that, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon. Peace. We are Built Better.